Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of 3 Wide. I'm your host, Radney Crawford. Today, we're going to be going over Phoenix race weekend, most notably Sunday's Cup Series race where the new short track package was introduced. And we will also discuss the news over this past weekend, or rumors, should I say, that NASCAR could be going back to race in LA, but this time from Dodger Stadium. So in Sunday's Cup race, there was the new short track package that was introduced after some testing last season. Even after that testing, there was not a lot of positive talk from the drivers that took part in that test, but on Sunday we got to see it in racing action, and there was still a lot of negative reaction, especially from the drivers. Not many had positive things to say about it. The only one I really saw with a positive comment about this package and the tire that Goodyear brought was Chase Briscoe. In my opinion, it's tough to get a true judgment off of this package at a track like Phoenix, which is its own animal, kind of like a Pocono. It just kind of sits off to the side. It's its own racetrack and own style of racing. We'll get a true look, I believe, at what this short track package can do this upcoming race weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway. Even with the changes, though, that they've made, the big topic of conversation about this car is the horsepower. Denny Hamlin has been the most vocal of the drivers on this past weekend in a press conference. He talked about how it would take one phone call from NASCAR to get the change made, to get more horsepower in these cars to make them drive better. Drivers have been clamoring for a long time for the horsepower to be raised in these cars, and with NASCAR stating that they're looking at every possible avenue to improve the racing in this next-gen car, they seem to have been hesitant so far to pull the trigger on increasing the horsepower, and I'm really wondering why. If so many drivers in that Cup Series garage is asking for this change to increase the horsepower, why would you not just try it just to see what would come of it? Now, I'm not on the technical side of the sport. I don't know what really would go into it to increase the horsepower, but these drivers are very knowledgeable as what's going on inside and outside of the car. And like I said, pretty much the entire garage has said this could fix it. NASCAR continues to tinker with this next-gen car when it comes to the aero side of things, as well as things to do with the tire, but they've come with minimal results so far. And while I don't think we will see anything changed as far as horsepower goes this season, you could at least get the ball rolling to hopefully have this implemented by next season when we come back to Phoenix and Bristol in 2025. As for the race itself at Phoenix on Sunday, it was your typical Phoenix race. There was some great, exciting restarts, some side-by-side action, but then once a few laps got going, everything kind of got strung out as it normally does at Phoenix. But what NASCAR and Goodyear brought with this new tire, it did make a difference, and I think it put on a better race. Tire wear was a bigger factor in this race than it has been in quite some time, especially with this next-gen car. Tire wear was something these drivers had to contend with throughout the race, and I believe it helped the race. You saw late race passes for the lead at the end of each stage, and even at the end, you had a driver like Denny Hamlin spin out while running in the top 3. He was able to come back and finish in the top 11. And more impressive was Martin Truex Jr., who had to pit with around 42 laps to go. He wasn't going to be able to make it on fuel, so he pits from the lead, comes out with 4 fresh tires, gets put a lap down. He's able to make up that lap and get all the way up to 7th place, which is where he finished. So him able to make up that much ground in that short time period at the track shows just how important new tires were. And we did see some more passes. We did see more battles going on for positions. I know a lot of drivers were complaining about the aero through the practice, but it didn't seem to be as bad as it has in previous years. Many of us who tuned in at Phoenix didn't expect to see a 3-wide finish to the line like we did at Atlanta, because that's just, frankly, not Phoenix's MO. It never has been. But compared to previous runnings at the track, especially in the next-gen era, I believe this was one of the better races that they have put on at Phoenix Raceway. Now, looking at the finishing order for Sunday's Cup race at Phoenix, it was a Toyota-dominated day. There's no questioning that. As a manufacturer, Toyota led all but 14 laps, and those laps were led just by Todd Gilliland driving a Ford. But while Toyota dominated, I do believe it was a very good day for Ford. You had Chris Buescher finishing second. He looked really strong there at the end as he was making his way through the field. Brad Keselowski, he finished in 4th. Defending Cup Series champion Ryan Blaney finished in 5th. But then you had Michael McDowell have a much-needed solid day for Front Row Motorsports. He comes away in 8th. And Chase Briscoe with Stewart-Haas Racing, they have another good day with their drivers Chase Briscoe and Noah Gragson. Briscoe finished in 9th. Noah Gragson finished in 12th after running in the top 10 most of the day. He just faded there at the end as some drivers were making their way through the field. Todd Gilliland, he led 14 laps, as I said, and he comes away with a 17th place finish. Nothing flashy, but for the way the season's gone and what was expected of this team, it was a pretty solid day all around for that 38 car. Carson Hocevar was once again the rookie of the race. He comes away with a 15th place finish and continues to just kind of fly under the radar and is having good runs in that 77 Spire car, which last year was pretty much non-existent. And I believe if Hocevar continues to have runs like these, it'll be interesting to see how a silly season may fall. Maybe he wants to stay with Spire Motorsports and, like Corey LaJoie, build up that team and turn it into something. But if not, he could have his fair share of suitors come silly season time. And going back to Noah Gragson, he continues to wildly impress in my mind this season with Stewart-Haas Racing. And the reason I say wildly impressed, last year he was nowhere to be found on race day in that 42 car for Legacy Motor Club. And even Stewart-Haas Racing, we know the struggles that team has had. But they have looked stronger this season, and it's mainly because of Briscoe and Gragson. They are the top two drivers with that team. Again, Josh Berry's a rookie. I think once we start going to these tracks a second time, between him and Rodney Childers, we'll see much better results. Ryan Preece just cannot seem to get the momentum rolling for him. But compared to what we've seen in the past, Stewart-Haas Racing seems to be taking steps forward, getting back to their competitive self. Hunt to Harvest is back to support another season of 3 Wide, and to tell you a little about them, they are a brand created to protect the hunt and to get back to the basics and the real reason for the hunt. A brand that supports the harvesting of the animal instead of just focusing on the trophy. To Hunt to Harvest, hunting is all about spending time with loved ones, providing for your family through the harvest, and giving thanks to the one who created all things. And you too can support this great mission and company by going to hunttoharvest.com and updating or upgrading your hunting apparel, where they have several new shirt designs in both short sleeve and long sleeves. And these shirts are also made out of 100% Peruvian cotton and true to size after one wash. They also have new rope hats in, but they are moving fast, so you better get your order in quick. So head on over to hunttoharvest.com, and when you check out, be sure to use the promo code RADNEY18923. That's RADNEY 18923. For even more savings. Now, we had some rumors over this past week of NASCAR having conversations about running a race at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles just to keep themselves in that market over in California. This rumor, this news that NASCAR was looking at this was not met with a positive reaction. I'm one of those. I just don't see any business of continuing this stadium tour. Now, they didn't specify what kind of race they were looking to run out there, but I think we can all assume that they're talking about the Clash after running it the past few years at LA Coliseum. And people don't know what kind of track they're looking at. Are they going to try and build this track inside the stadium, or will they try to do a parking lot race, which has a lot more room than the stadium itself? If they built the racetrack in Dodger Stadium, it would be much smaller than what we saw at LA Coliseum. And I don't think that is anything any of us want to see. And one of the main replies to this news of NASCAR possibly looking at Dodger Stadium is a lot of fans are saying, why not go up the road to Irwindale and get on the short track there? Some people were saying, well, looking at the parking lot, there's just not enough room to get the Cup Series out there. But if they go back to running it with just the pole winners as far as the Clash goes, don't bring the whole field out there, I don't see it being as big of a problem as far as room goes. And I know I said in my video at the start of the season, I would rather see the Clash go back to Daytona where it was with the pole winners. But if NASCAR did come out and say, you know what, we're going to go on a short track tour across the country each year, we'll go visit a new short track, we're going to touch a different market, I would be all in favor of that. I think that would be a much better alternative than doing the stadium tour with the Clash. Because if they did decide to go to the short track tour, you would be touching areas and markets that people that may have never seen NASCAR racing. It would give more people an opportunity to be able to go to their local short track and see the stars of NASCAR run on their home tracks. If you told me that NASCAR Cup Series racing was coming to Five Flag Speedway, which is just a couple hours away, or South Alabama Speedway, just about an hour up the road, I'd be headed to both places. You would have people lined up out the gate to see those races. Maybe people can't afford to travel far distances to go to these Cup Series races, and this would give them a better opportunity to go. Plus, NASCAR fans love short track racing, and Another positive as far as this next gen car goes, it can give you more reps and you can get a little bit more experimental with it and maybe get a better idea of where to head with this next gen car to improve the short track product. Now, I doubt that they do that, but I believe that would be a better idea than simply going across California and running it at these stadiums while you wait for Auto Club Speedway to be finished. And that'll wrap up today's episode of 3 Wide. Thank y'all for joining me and watching along. If you haven't done it already, be sure to hit that subscribe button to our channel so you will know when our new episodes drop, as well as our weekly Drivers to Watch shorts. Our newest one is out now for this Sunday's race at Bristol. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook by clicking on the links below in the description. And if you have any or all of these, be sure to go and give me a follow. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their week, and we will see y'all same time next week to look over the weekend's action from Bristol.